Good afternoon. I'm Monisa Klein here at the GBTA broadcast studio, and joining me today is Joff Romoff, who is the group president for lodging for Corpay. Joff, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me.
It's great to have you, and I understand you did not have to get on an airplane to come to GBTA this year.
Yeah, I kind of skirted that. It was nice that it's here in Atlanta where I live.
Which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful. Well, first off, tell us a little bit about Corpay.
Sure. So Corpay is a part of a larger organization, but fundamentally what we do is we focus on what we call the workforce space. And I guess it's affectionately known as boots, not suits. In other words, we really contract with companies such as railways, construction companies, forestry organizations. And what we try and do is provide them the most optimum accommodation with the greatest savings, and back that behind some very convenient payment systems as well as some very comprehensive reporting. So when we go out to the segment, we're really solving a big problem for them, which is taking their large groups of travelers that are going to generally pretty remote areas and wrapping a product around them that solves the problem for the customer as well as our suppliers, which is hotels, and allows them to easily use payment and have reporting to control their cost effectively.
Excellent. Okay. Corpay Lodging is considerable in its size across your portfolio of companies.
Yep.
Can you give us an indication of the volume of business your company provides to the lodging community?
Sure. It is very large. It's so funny because I'm new to the role. I got in about 6 months ago, and prior to that, truthfully, I didn't realize how large it was. We do almost 40 million room nights a year.
Wow.
It's a big segment. And that comprises of largely what we call our CLC lodging group, which is our workforce group as well. However, we do have some other groups that contribute to that. But yeah, it's a massive space. And a lot of it is centered around what we call the economy segment. So a lot of the 3-star chains, which is, as we know, the largest footprint of hotels, especially in the US. And so we focus on that area, and we do a lot of extended stay. So, a number of our customers will have employees that are going to destinations sometimes for 2, 3, 5, 6 months at a time. So it's a very different segment in the business travel area. Nobody flies anywhere, everybody drives. And so from that perspective, we answer the question of that. But Corpay as an organization, we have a couple of other businesses. It started really as a fleet business for fuel cards for trucking. And what we basically were able to do was to acquire a couple of assets that were gas credit cards, for lack of a better expression. And what we were able to do is provide discounts for truckers. Well, what we learned was fleets also stayed at hotels. And so that morphed quite nicely into it. And since that's taken place, there's been quite a few acquisitions. There's a very large cross-border currency exchange business within it, and a very successful gift card business as well. So we're payment at our core, but there's a lot of ancillary services that sit around there.
Wow, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm learning so much here. So your lodging brands seem to cater to a very specific audience per brand. You mentioned boots, not suits.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure, absolutely. So there's 4 brands that we've got within the lodging space. The first brand is CLC. It's our oldest lodging brand. We've had it for about 14, 15 years. And that really caters to, as I said to you before, our workforce group. So anybody that has large groups that are moving or fleets of folks that are moving. So as I mentioned, railways, forestry, construction.
About crew business. Do you do crew
So it's funny you say that. So our CLC business is around the workforce. Our other business is called TA Connections, which is exactly that.
Okay.
So we have a group that basically works with all of the airlines for their crew accommodation and then for their distressed. So needless to say, for the last 4 or 5 days, we've been pretty busy with what's been going on with the airlines. And so that's a really interesting business. And what we're able to do with that business is we're solving a problem obviously for the airline, and we have the technology that is fully integrated within our platform. So for example, in most cases, if an airline has some sort of cancellation, you should be able to get a message in the airline app that will tell you, in most cases, where you're staying, how to get there, things of that nature. And so that business we acquired a couple of years ago and is a global business. So it's growing by leaps and bounds. So it's an interesting space. The other business that we have is a company out of St. Charles, Illinois called ALE Solutions. And this business caters to the insurance sector. So imagine, a tree falls on somebody's house and the house needs to be reconstructed. We work with the insurance carriers to place the insured, if you will. And so that business sort of toggles with a lot of long-term stay accommodation, because the average length of stay is about 45 days. But if your house is getting rebuilt, it can be 6, 7, 8 months. So we gather content, supply for those customers. And then the fourth business within the lodging space is a company called Roomex, which is over in Dublin, does most of its trade in the United Kingdom. And they're similar to our CLC product over here, and they're going after workforce in the United Kingdom. And what one of our observations was when we acquired them was there really wasn't an organization that was going after the sector, because it's a pretty unique area. So when you sort of pull them all together, it becomes a pretty big business. Yeah.
You mentioned the insurance business. I live in Houston, Texas, and okay. We have hurricanes.
Yep.
Just recently, Beryl.
Yep.
So I'm sure you guys were doing pretty busy down in the Houston area recently.
It's funny. We have a term that's called, if I get it right, we like wind, not water. Obviously
we get both.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a great example. Yeah. And what's interesting about the ALE business is during, God forbid, catastrophic events, we actually deploy folks into the region to work with the insurance adjusters. So it's a very human business, because it's a very personal thing, and we've been in that business for some time, and we have an emergency services group that also is incorporated with that. And for instance, the Maui fires that took place, that was us. And so we went into Maui, we found temporary accommodation, we set up, places where people could come. So yeah, it's a really interesting space.
Wow.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of good too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
you're purpose and meaning. You're
kind
important.
of half therapist, half half provider, but it's a great business.
It is. Yeah. It is. Any new features or solutions on the horizon for CLC Lodging, TA Connections, and ALE Solutions?
Absolutely. We're always trying to innovate, right? You're always trying to, you always want to do it faster, but you can't. So yeah, all three businesses we're doing, especially with CLC, we've just announced a new group booking product. So what we're able to do now with our CLC platform, and each business has its own booking platform. With our CLC platform, with our groups reservation product, we're actually able to have a customer go into the platform, request what they require in addition to any additional details. That goes into CLC itself, and then we've got unbelievable expertise to go out to the marketplace and to negotiate on behalf of the customer, and then come back to the customer with choices. And I think really what the defining factor on that one is simply we're able to get to the details of what they need, we're able to provide value in terms of rate, but again, we're able to sort of encompass this from a reporting perspective. So that product we're really excited, and it just launched. With TA Connections, we will be launching in fourth quarter 2 products. One is called Crew Hub. So really for our crew business, we'll have one repository where crew will be able to go in and really engage with all the constituents. And then we have another one that we're calling Distress Hub. And it's sort of the same thing, but we differentiate the two. So when we have a lot of cancellations, we're able to go into one repository and move forward with that. And then with ALE Solutions, we have a really comprehensive platform for adjusters. While the insured are absolutely one of our customers, truthfully, the adjusters at the insurance companies are a bigger customer in the sense that they're going into the areas and they're determining, what the insured gets. So we've developed a platform where they can go in and really engage very, very easily. And we're just about to launch a long-term stay product in that. So lots of things happening. I wish it was faster, but we're moving along nicely.
Well, Joff, I'm so impressed how much you know, and how long did you say you've been there now?
It's been about 6 months. Yeah.
I'm very impressed. In that short amount of time, you seem to have a great grasp and handle of the issues and the products, and that's great. It's exciting.
It's an exciting business.
Sounds like it's a very exciting business and lots of opportunities, right? Exactly. And it's good to be at GBTA, right?
It's always. This is probably my 15th or 20th time, so it's an awesome event, and it's always nice to see old friends and to meet new prospects.
Well, Joff, thank you so much for
Great.
spending a few minutes with me, and I hope the rest of the week goes well.
Great. Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Take care.
I'm Monisa Klein here at the GBTA Broadcast Studio.